threshold for lack, where we are not triggered by the tiniest bit of lack, where we don't even see lack when there is lack, where we are so overflowing with abundance and belief in the goodness of ourselves and God and what He's doing in our situations, that we're not waiting for a circumstance to be changed. We're waiting to milk every good thing out of the difficult circumstance, knowing that it will change. Because, by the way, every difficult moment that you're in right now in this year, it will change. Right? It will change. I mean, your parents are probably not going to change, so sorry about that. I can't solve that for all of us. But most of the rest of the things are going to change, the circumstances. Most of them, not all of them. Many of them will change in some way or another. There will be an answer in some way or another. We can either move through it with so much honor and so much value that we astonish ourselves in the midst of it and enjoy it. Or we can barely squeak through it, complaining and whining and moaning and feeling miserable, and then get out of it and think to ourselves, gosh, I wish that I had made a decision to enjoy my life along the way. Yeah.
Isn't that pretty much what I said?
Yes, get over it. So, but we've got to flip into that place where we go, where is the abundance? So, God's gift to me, you're going to crack up and go, that cannot be the answer, was He said to me, use your words. Use your words. Stop getting all emotional about this. Nobody is in control of your future. I am here. Settle into this moment and surrender to what is happening in this moment. Surrender to the circumstance that you are in. And allow me to show you who you get to be here. Allow me to show you who I get to be for you here. Because if you keep resisting the circumstance, you'll keep trying to hammer it and shatter it. And we end up hammering and shattering people in the process, sometimes ourselves. And wouldn't so many of us like to go back and do high school differently? Wouldn't we go back and go, if I knew, and I know none of us would want to go back and do it.
No, I would not go back at all.
I didn't say you would go back. I said, if you had to, wouldn't you do it differently, knowing now what you know now?
I think I wouldn't go.
Right? That would, and there it is.
That's the difference.
It is the difference. That's the difference. You just wouldn't do it. You'd be like, I'm out. I opt out. But there's so many parts of my life where I go, gosh, I wish that I hadn't been. And so I love, there's a gentleman who spent his entire life trying to get in the NFL. He was recently in a documentary, I can't think of his name, and he had an injury in his very first game. He's out, he recovered, he's still waiting for that call to get back in. And he said, the one thing that I've learned, and he goes, I've learned so many things, but the one thing I've learned is don't sweat the stuff you can't control. So if you can't control others, you can't control circumstances, stop trying to control the things you can't control. So focus your effort and energy on what you can. And I feel like that's another way of saying surrender. Surrender to the circumstance you're in and get vengeance on the lack that is trying to convince you that you and God and life and circumstances are too big, too overwhelming. Get vengeance on that by allowing so much barak, so much goodness to well up within you that you are overflowing with honor, that you have honor so it's just pouring out of you. And so the Lord said to me, surrender to this process. Use your words and communicate with people. And 3, do you know, set boundaries. Set boundaries. I was like, really? Boundaries? And so I'm going to have you put up here, right here. These things work well together when we aren't trying to get from other people what God wants to give us Himself. These work well when we don't allow people to abuse us because we're trying to get them to give us, in an abusive exchange, what was never meant to be in the first place. These work well when we understand what is ours, what is someone else's, and what is the Lord's. So when we start putting good boundaries in place, it all of a sudden frees us from the tension of the fight. And we are free to make powerful choices. You know, if somebody had told you, now Carrie, the solution is just let it go. You know, just realize this person's doing the best they can do. Well, that may or may not be the truth, actually. It has to be a revelation within you where the Lord is showing you something, and it's case by case, moment by moment. This is the beauty of not living a principled life, but living a life based on relationship. It can't be principled out. This life of boundaries and authority and respect and honor that overflows and flows from within us. And the Lord's going, let me cultivate so much honor and value in you that you never need it from anyone else. You have enough for all of humanity. Yeah. Okay, so out of that, we're going to do our practice, our prophetic practice. And did you have anything you wanted to add to this? No, no.
Good.
Okay, you good? You good? You're solid? Yay. Okay. So